independent. You know it. You love it. You can't live without it. Rockland World Radio.
Welcome to another thrilling week of Twerking 9 to 5. I'm your host, Khumbo. Well, it's been a week since I was last here hanging out in the studio with Richard. And a lot has happened this week and weeks before that I've kind of just been finding out and really thinking about right now. So, the first thing, which is weird things I find on the internet, or like interesting things I find on the internet, is this whole Dolce and Gabbana chemical children controversy. So if you haven't been keeping up with this, or if you have no idea what it is, the two fashion designers behind Dolce and Gabbana came out a week ago or a week and a half ago, and they were talking about how they personally don't believe in surrogacy or in vitro fertilization or even adoption, that they feel as though children obtained through those means are chemical children, and it's just not right. And so Elton John went crazy and was like, we should all boycott Dolce and Gabbana, and I'm like, I can boycott them, I'm broke. I mean, it doesn't really matter. But it's just really interesting, this whole thing about tradition. They talked about the fact that they were from a traditional family and that their parents had children the traditional way. And it's just interesting because this word tradition gets thrown around so much, and I think that sometimes it's very much to the detriment of a lot. It's just really funny because traditions change over time. You know, traditions aren't born, traditions are made. And I think that when you start to forget that traditions are actually made and that they don't just appear out of the sky and are handed to you, I think then you become a little bit more open to things. You know, like a traditional Christian family or a traditional family setting now is obviously not the same as it was in 1862. So, I don't know, it's just something that I was thinking about. And, you know, I was looking around for, like, quotes that really encompassed my views of tradition, you know, because quotes are the best thing ever. But I came around this quote from Jiddu Krishnamurti, and he said, that traditions are the mind's security, but that when the mind is secure, then the rest of the body is in decay. That it's really not good to stay so rooted in one thing that you can't express or see past that one thing. So that was like my big thing for like things I find on the internet. Last week it was the hunting ground, this week it's this whole Dolce and Gabbana thing. So let me know if there's like other weird, interesting, controversial things that you would like to talk about or like me to talk about or whatever. So, moving on. What else did I have here? I feel like I had like a whole little itinerary and now I'm like, oh, what am I gonna do? So it was the first day of spring last Friday. And it was supposed to be beautiful, right? You think the first day of spring, the flowers are gonna come out, the squirrels are gonna be there with their nuts, and there's gonna be cake abounding and confetti and balloons. This is what I was hoping for the first day of spring. But the first day of spring, it decides to snow here in New York. That was ridiculous, absolutely ridiculous. I wake up and there's like however many inches of snow on the ground. I'm like, I feel like it's the dead of winter. And yet it's supposed to be the first day of spring. It was ridiculous. I was very, very pissed off about that. But I'm glad that all the snow has melted now. So at least there's that, and hopefully it will continue to get warmer so that more fun things can happen. And so the other day, well, not the other day. So every Sunday I go to this boot camp class, right? And the instructor is like, she's really great. She's not like militant, you know, she's not there like, squat, 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 squat. She's like really great about being like, oh, if you need to stop, you know, get some water. It's all great. But I was on YouTube just kind of derping around the night before I went to boot camp. And I came across this one song, and I have no idea how to pronounce the rapper's name. My brother is probably going to get really crazy. He's going to be like, oh, how do you not know this guy? Because he's really into all things music, and I am not as into it as I should be. But the song is called Throw Some Mo. And it has, like, Nicki Minaj. Like, it features Nicki Minaj, and she has, like, her little hook or whatever, and she's like, oh, I got a fat booty? Yeah, I know. You know? Throw those hundreds, throw some mo. I know I'm totally butchering this, but to that effect. But I was listening to the song, and I was like, oh, yeah, Nicki, talking about booties again. Woo, it's exciting. Butts abound. But I went to this boot camp Sunday morning, and the instructor is like, okay, like, this is our last 5 minutes. We're really going to go hard on this. It's like, Richard's gone. I was gonna, like, show you my move, like, the actual move that is crazy. But she says, okay, we're gonna do, for the last 5 minutes, we're going to do, like, leg work and, like, abs or something. And I was like, oh, okay, like, that's fine. It's 5 minutes. I can handle 5 minutes. But she has us do donkey kicks, which it seems really simple. It's like, oh, donkey kicks, you know, like you get on all fours, then you kind of like kick your leg back, you know, for a couple of minutes, and you kick your other leg back for a couple of minutes. And then she had us like say, like, I really want to show you guys, but it's like, Richard! Now he's running back so that I can actually show you guys this thing. But she was like, okay, we're gonna do donkey kicks, right? So donkey kicks, basically, you get down on all fours, right? And it's like, oh, okay, like, you kind of just do this for, like, a good 5 minutes. You just do the donkey kicks. And then she was like, oh, and then we're going to do straight leg pulses. And so you, like, you know, basically just this. So those look like two very simple moves, right? They're not. She probably had us do this for 2 minutes. It didn't feel like that long when I was doing it. I was like, ugh. What is this? Like, this is supposed to be boot camp? Whatever, I can do this. Did it for the 2 minutes, went home, got to bed, woke up the next day, and I could not walk. Like, could not walk. I couldn't believe it. I got up and I was like, my butt feels like it's gonna fall off. I don't know what I'm gonna do. Because now I can't, like, sit on anything. So I'm spending the entire time in my bedroom, like, laying on my stomach doing everything. Because I can't actually lay on my back. And so that evening, I mean, it's gotten to the point where it's, like, it's a whole day of me being, like, not being able to sit down. And so finally I text Maggie, who's in the other room, and I say, listen, if my butt explodes tonight, I need you to not put this in my eulogy. Seriously. There's a lot of things that you can put in there. Just don't put this. And she's falling out of her bed laughing because she's been watching me all day, you know, standing up or, like, not being able to go very far. So, you know, just a word of caution. If anyone ever says, hey, let's do some donkey kicks in a workout class, be warned. Okay, it's not all rainbows and roses, alright? Okay. So, what was my other thing that I was gonna talk to you guys about? Oh yeah, so there was, another story a while ago, and I didn't read the entire article, but it was about the selfie sticks, you know, like, a lot of people have, like, the selfie sticks and they put their iPhones on it and whatever, that they're banned in Rome, or like a lot of European cities are now banning the selfie stick because it's, like, so intrusive, and, you know, like, most of the, like, that thing is like 6 feet long or something, and you're, like, shoving it in other people's faces as you're trying to take your selfie. So a lot of European cities are actually banning the selfie stick, which I am all for because those things are the devil. Selfie sticks are the devil. I went, my brother and his best friend were here for New Year's. And so the three of us and my friend Anna decided that we were gonna go and watch the ball drop in Manhattan. And so we get on the train and we get there, and of course, it's crowded. Absolutely crowded. You can't even move like 2 feet without bumping into someone. So we're sandwiched in between like this group from, I think they were from Sweden. This group from Sweden and these just 2 random people on the other side. The 2 random people were smoking, and the group from Sweden had their selfie stick, and they just had absolutely no regard for the fact that they were surrounded by all these people, that we couldn't move, and they're pulling out their selfie stick and taking all these selfies. And so at first, my brother is, he's excited, and he's like, oh, whatever, like he's photobombing their pictures and getting in there. It's like, these guys are gonna go back home and there's gonna be like 10 pictures with my brother in the background. They're gonna be like, who is this guy? But after a while, it started to get annoying because they were like shoving it in people's backs and, shoving it like willy-nilly everywhere. It was ridiculous. And that wasn't even the pinnacle of us being out in New York on New Year's Eve trying to watch the ball drop. So we get there and we are on 54th Street or something. Like, we are far away from where the action is actually happening, and we can't really see over the tops of everyone's head to the screen where they're actually showing all the stuff that's happening. And so after a while, we're like, okay, well, we're either gonna stay here for the next 5 hours and really just tough it out, or we're gonna go home. We're just gonna go home. If one more thing happens, we're going to go home. Lo and behold, this group of very, very drunk teenagers decides to try and get to the front. So they pretend that their friend is at the front of the little corral that we're in, and they're like, oh, yeah, like my girlfriend's at the front. I just need to get to her. Excuse me. So they're pushing through all these people trying to get to the front. Well, obviously, most of the people in the front are like, oh, please. I very much doubt that you have a friend in the front. So they're pushing them back, and they're like, no. So they end up standing right next to us. And there's about 7 of them. They're all incredibly drunk, but there's one of them who is so drunk, he can't even see his fingers in front of his face. So drunk. And he decides that he really, really needs to pee. Yeah. And so his friends decide to form a circle around him, and he pulls out his schlong right there in the middle of almost Times Square and just pees. Just pees on the ground. Like, he's surrounded by people, he just pees on the ground. I don't know why his friends thought that this huddle would, like, really protect him. Like, oh, if he's huddled, then, like, people won't notice the pee slowly seeping, like, towards them. It's not like he was just changing clothes. Like, the guy was urinating on the floor. And then at that point, the minute that happened, we were like, yeah, we're gonna get on the train, we're gonna go back to a warm house, and we're gonna watch the ball drop from the comfort of a living room. So wonderful things that happen with selfie sticks. They're omens of doom, I feel. They should be banned everywhere. That's my personal consensus about that. Well, yeah. Local news. I found a lot of like really funny, weird things, but apparently in White Plains, it wasn't really funny though. Okay. So in White Plains, a woman was found in a man's backyard naked. Like, she was dead, and she was like naked in his backyard. And I mean, it started off as a really serious news story. Like, oh, this woman has been found dead, and we don't know how she got there. We don't know how she got to this backyard. And no, it was an apartment. It was an apartment building, not like a house. But we don't know how she got there. We don't know who she is. No identification, nothing. it started off like as a really serious news story, and I was like, oh wow, this is really, really sad. But then the reporters went on to interview the other tenants and some of the other neighbors around, and the way that they phrased the question was just really ridiculous. They go and they ask this one older gentleman, and the woman is like, oh, did you see anyone running around naked the other night? I mean, why would you ask someone that? I mean, that's not really the way to have good reporting. You know, it's like, oh, did you see like a naked woman running around here? If you had seen a naked woman running around, I'm pretty sure that you would know by now that there was a naked woman running around the neighborhood. And he's like, well, I didn't really see a naked woman. I think I would have noticed that. It's like, yeah, you would have noticed the 25-year-old naked woman running around your neighborhood. I'm pretty sure. There's like weird things that happen on local television. So, yeah. Honestly, I think that was it for me. Just like fun little things that I find around and things to talk about. So let me know if you guys have any great stories about people doing stupid things with selfie sticks or just stupid things in general. I love hearing stories about people making fools of themselves because why not? Also, if you have any other comments or any other things that you would love to tell me and talk to me about in person or over the social media sphere, you can find me on Twitter at OneGirlRevolution. That's the number 1. Girl is in G-U-R-L, Revolution. And yeah, thank you so much for watching Twerking 9 to 5. I'll be back next week at 1 p.m. Eastern Time. And I'm going to sign off now, but I will leave you with another wonderful, funny video of things that my friends and I do. It is almost the end of the month, but if you're a woman, it's always the time of the month for someone. So enjoy this wonderful parody video about periods, and I will see you next week. As soon as I get it loaded up, I'll see you next week. And goodbye. I remember the first time it happened. I was in my mom's room, and I was reading Cosmo and trying on her makeup.
I was at soccer practice.
My violin recital.
My very first date.
My mom came in when she heard me screaming, and when she realized what was happening, she cried.
I didn't think anything was wrong at first, but then I noticed I was the only one still playing.
Everyone was staring at me. There was nothing I could do, so I just kept playing.
It was the worst moment of my life. He never asked me out again.
Getting your period is always a shock.
Sometimes you feel like it will never end.
But you live and learn.
And we're here to tell you, it doesn't get better.
All the cramping before, during, and after.
Always carrying aspirin in your purse.
Not to mention enough tampons and pads to plug up the Titanic.
And it happens each and every single month.
There's so much maintenance involved. Every bathroom trip is either number 1 in your period or number 2 in your period.
Every shower is a race between you, gravity, and your period.
Years go by and your period is still there.
You find the perfect products just for you.
Some months, you even know exactly when it's going to show up.
But we're here to tell you,
it doesn't get better.
So take heart, because if you're having a shitty day, so are we.
Welcome to the new sound of Rockland. RocklandWorldRadio.com. Exciting online TV and radio.
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I break your concentration?
Welcome to the new sound of Rockland. RocklandWorldRadio.com. Exciting online TV and radio. Watch and listen to what you've been missing. Broadcasting independent music, art, and culture. From the world of pop to poetry, classical to cutting edge. Movies, comedy, jazz, jams, rock and roll baby, interviews, information, and event listings. Join the revolution. It's not just radio, it's Rockland World Radio. RocklandWorldRadio.com.